Good morning, one and all. We welcome you all to the National Conference on Jute Geotextiles as a Sustainable Solution in Civil Engineering Applications, including Infrastructure Development. Investment in infrastructure is a long-term requirement for growth and a long-term factor that will make the growth sustainable. With these words, let us call upon the dignitaries onto the dais. We have with us Chief Guest for the event, Prof Vinod Chandra Menon, Founder Member, National Disaster Management Authority, Guest of Honor, Commodore A K Jolly, Chair and MD, Jute Corporation, and Shri Moloy Chandan Chakraborty, Jute Commissioner, Government of India. I request Conference Chairman, Professor G.L. Sivakumar Babu, to escort the dignitaries onto the dais. Let us formally start the conference by seeking the blessings of Almighty. Now I would like to call upon Ms. Kalyani to render an invocation song.
Ya kundendu tushar har dhavala, ya shubhra vastravrita, ya veenam varadanda manditakara, ya shveta padmasana, ya brahma chuta shankara prabhrutibhi devai sada vandita, sa mam patu saraswati bhagavati nishesha jadyapaha. Thank you.
Thank you, Kalyani, for that wonderful rendition. I'm sure Goddess Saraswati will shower her blessings to this technical extravaganza. By lighting a lamp of knowledge, one can dispel the darkness of ignorance. Now, I invite all the dignitaries on the dais to lighten the lamp. Thank you, dignitaries. We have with us Professor G.L. Sivakumar Babu, Chairman of this conference. Professor Babu, a Professor in Geotechnical Engineering Division, Department of Civil Engineering, Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, India. And Sir has served as a President, Indian Geotechnical Society for 4 years during 2017 to 2020, and as a Governor, ASC Board of Governors, Region 10 during 2014 to 2020. He is an awardee of John Booker Medal, International Association for Computer Methods and Advances in Geomechanics, USA, for the year 2017. His areas of research include risk and reliability applications in geotechnical engineering, geosynthetics and reinforced soil structures, environmental geotechnology, fibers in geotechnical engineering, earthquake geotechnical engineering, and geotechnics for disaster mitigation. Professor Babu has over 150 journal publications and more than 100 papers in conferences. He is an editorial board member and reviewer of several reputed journals. He has also served as a chairman, co-chairman, and expert for technical sessions in various international and national conferences in India and abroad. I request Professor Babu to deliver the welcome address.
Thank you, Professor Asha. Good morning to all of you. It's a pleasure as a conference chairman to welcome this distinguished guests on the dais, and the colleagues from the Department of Civil Engineering and the colleagues from the Indian Geotechnical Society Bangalore chapter, as well as NIT Surathkal chapter, and many engineers, fellow engineers from KRRDA and many other organizations, and officials from the Jute board. And it's a momentous occasion. I think perhaps for the first time that we are having a program on this, particularly after 5 years we had a great conference of Indian Geotechnical Society in this auditorium. This is an auditorium complex in 2018. It is called Indian Geotechnical Society Conference, annual conference, where we had 800 people. And after that, this is again a new start for us. Let me, with this, I would like to welcome you all. I would like to specially welcome our guest of honor, Commander Shri A K Jolly, Chair and MD Jute Corporation. I would like to specially invite our chief guest, Professor Vinod Menon, founder NDMA. I would like to invite Shri Moloy, Chandan, Chakraborty, Jute Commissioner, with our honor. So, it's a pleasure that all of us are here, and I'm sure that the deliberations today will really help us in trying to chart out new ideas and see that they're implemented in practice. I've been discussing with our chief guest and guests of honor today, and they promised us that this is just the beginning. So thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. I request Dr. Sreevalsa to formally welcome Professor Babu to this conference. Now I would like to call upon Dr. Sreevalsa Kolathayar to brief about this conference.
Respected Chief Guest of the Day, Professor Vinod Menon, President of the Function, Shri Chandan Chakraborty, Jute Commissioner, Guest of Honor, Commodore A K Jolly, and Chairman of the Conference, Professor GLS Babu, my dear teachers, delegates from different organizations, and dear friends. Namaskar and very warm good morning to all of you. This conference on Jute Geotextiles as a sustainable solution for civil engineering applications is being organized under National Jute Development Program by National Jute Board in association with IISc, NITK, and Indian Geotechnical Society Bangalore and Surathkal chapters. In fact, we all know jute is a material which has very high potential but still unexplored. We are aware of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals set by the United Nations to be achieved by 2030. We don't know whether we will be able to achieve, but the efforts should be on. And in that context, jute is a material which has direct or indirect contribution to each one of the SDG. Especially SDG 9, Industry, Innovation and Infrastructure, SDG 11, Sustainable Cities and Communities, and SDG 6, Clean Water and Sanitation. So we know jute production globally, India leads. In fact, 85% of the global jute production happens in the Bengal Delta. And there are several possible applications. And the main objective of this conference is to explore the possibilities of application of jute geotextiles for civil engineering applications. In this context, we have planned this conference just 2 months back, and in fact notified just 1.5 months back, and we have received an overwhelming response. the expression of interest was close to 500. We planned for 120 and then we had to extend it to 150 and then 175. We have engineers from government departments, industry, and also from academic institutes. So we could not accommodate all the people who have expressed interest. We have on a first come first serve basis. So our request is to each one of you, please become a champion of the Jute Geotextile and take the knowledge dissemination that is going to be happen here, and the message to each one of your colleagues, contacts, and your friend circle. So with this, I will end my brief about this conference. I hope all of you will have a wonderful program today, explore the program sessions and enjoy the beauty of IISc campus. Thank you very much. Jai.
Thank you, Dr. Sreevalsa, for providing the guest of conference. And now it's time to hear from the guest of honor, Commodore A K Jolly, the Chair and MD of Jute Corporation. And it's with great honor we welcome you, sir. Commodore A K Jolly has been the Principal Director Operations at National Hydrographic Office, Dehradun, Commanding Officer, Indian Naval Ships, the Director, National Institute of Hydrography, and currently the Chairman and Managing Director of Jute Corporation of India since 2019. A few of his awards and honors include mention in dispatches, Operation Vijay by President of India, commendation by the Chief of the Naval Staff, Jewel of India Award by Indian Solidarity Council. Sir, I request you to address the gathering.
Thank you so much for a very kind introduction. Good morning, everybody. Very nice to be here. Happy faces early in the morning. Our chief guest, Professor Vinod Chandra Menon, Shri Moloy Chandan Chakraborty, the Jute Commissioner, Professor GL Sivakumar Babu, and very senior scientists present here, dignitaries and delegates, officers of these organizations, National Jute Board, Jute Corporation of India, RRI, and many other organizations who are present here. To begin with, I must say that I'm not a technical person. So, this is a very highly technical subject. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to paint a picture of the raw jute scenario and something about what was happening in the field of application of jute geotextiles. So, because in every industry, the source material, the raw material, and its dynamics are also very important. So, Jute Corporation of India was incorporated in 1971. Let me also brag about the corporation itself, and everybody does that. So this was, as you know, historically also a very important year, 1971, and this was the year that we share as our foundation day. So our mandate was to provide MSP support to the farmers, because as for the other crops, sometimes what happens is that middlemen, they exploit the farmers, and the farmers are sometimes not getting the remunerative price for their crop. So this was the job given to Jute Corporation of India initially as the main mandate. And as the time passed, the requirement of MSP has diminished. It happens once in a while because the market price for jute remains quite high. Jute is a good commodity which is commanding a good market price not only in India but globally, and it is increasing. And in the last 8 to 9 years, we also engaged ourselves in the development of farming technology. In the sense, not in the R&D, but we work with the farmers in the project iCare, and we give them all the scientific know-how, we give them high quality seeds, and we work with them, agronomic practices and all. So this has been very, very rewarding, and a lot is happening. So JCI works with farmers so closely that it has almost become like synonymous with raw jute. If you ask any farmer, ask him anything about the jute, and you will see that the name of JCI will definitely crop up. So it has become a household name. If you talk to the farmer, they will immediately mention about JCI. So that's the kind of credit and the kind of trust that we have amongst the farmer. So we are an agent of progress and development in the field of jute. And we also, apart from working with the farmers for the agronomic practices, we are also now diversifying into various products. And Jute Geotextiles is also one of them. So, jute supply chain is quite stable now. We must know about it because the source material for jute geotextile is basically raw jute, which comes from the farmers. And national production is at a level of about 92 lakh bales, which is about 172 lakh quintals, which is also likely to grow more because the productivity which is achievable theoretically or which is done by our R&D organizations is about, it has a scope of around 50% more. So the output that they get, the productivity that they get is about 40 quintals per hectare, and what we are actually getting as a national average is about 27 hectares, quintals per hectare. So there is a wonderful scope for growth in this, and there is a creeping up CAGR of about 1.5%, which we can really speed up. So, and most of it goes into sacking, as all of you know. The sacking, the bora of the food grains and sugar, etc., that we get. According to an estimate, the jute products would be growing at a CAGR of about 15%, very fast from now. And geotextiles is one of them. What are the issues with the raw jute production? The important issue is about the water management. This is the main issue. And this is being addressed. There is a bit of a delay in this because of some funding, etc. In situ watered ponds. What happens is jute is in the months of monsoon, and there is a lot of rains, because of which the water logging, the jute plants gets destroyed, and when it comes to retting, not enough water is available. These in situ water ponds are going to address this problem. The second problem with the raw jute is the market is somewhat unorganized. That's another problem, because this gives rise to some middlemen having some play, which is control, of course, to a large extent. But what we need to have is we need to organize this market a little bit. And it will be heartening for all of you to know that we are bringing in the blockchain technology to make this happen. So very high technology in a very low tech field of jute farming or marketing of jute. So this is going to happen very fast. E-auction platform is also coming. We have small farms, typically in West Bengal and in eastern part of the country. So one problem about the agronomy is that we cannot have very large machines. So small machines are being used, typically 2.5 biga per farmer. So, but there is a beautiful application which emerges here of science is that the moment we start having the geo-mapping of the farms and land records, this will enable us to do large-scale farming. Because then the farmer will not be worried about the boundaries of his plot, small plot that they have. How they identify their farm is by the boundaries, and they don't want to diminish that entity. So with the digitization of land records and farm, the boundaries of the farm, this problem will go away, and it can corporatize the farming. Large machines can go in. This is bound to happen. It may not happen very quickly, but it is bound to happen because the low wage labor of the farm sector has to partly shift to manufacturing sector. You all know about it. But this is bound to happen. So let us look at jute and our natural environment. And I think it goes without saying that jute has tremendous environmental benefits. And it is traditionally called part in Bengali and Hindi and in Bihari. Because part essentially means to fill up an area. You say the part diya, dur se dur tak part diya. So everywhere you look up to the horizon, you see just part. So this is the actual meaning of the word, because its volume is so much. And it is filled with foliage. 13 to 15 meter height, feet height of the crop. And the CO2 sequestration is huge. The carbon dioxide, so there are, and also the release of oxygen is also. I'm not giving the figures here. And jute is primarily a rain-fed crop. So the groundwater depletion is also not an issue here. It is also very enriching for the soil, and farmers love it. If you ask them, they are not going to give up jute farming, even if they have to sell it at low price, because it is very nutritious for the soil. Typically, a farmer, they just leave their crop. After harvesting, they leave it in the field for 2-3 days. The foliage is defoliates there. It is all the biomaterials left behind in the field to decompose and become compost. So, from this part also, from this aspect, it is very good for our environment. It enriches the soil also. Recently, you would have seen Sadhguru had a global tour advocating about the soil, enriching the soil. So this particular aspect can be a wonderful subject for environmental study. If any of you are interested, we can aid and assist from the Jute Corporation of India. Be our guest. So jute has so many good qualities, but what happened was in the 80s, 90s, with the invasion of plastics, and later as it kept on increasing, the jute had a very severe blow, huge blow. And now it depends on the mandatory packaging of the food grains. So for jute, diversification is the need of the hour. So there comes in the Jute Geotextiles. So let me also touch upon this subject a little. I am afraid it is highly technical, but let me begin by talking a little bit about the characteristics which make it so suitable for this kind of textiles. High tenacity, which is comparable to man-made fiber. It has high initial modulus, so that makes it not yield easily, not stretch. And it is higher than man-made fiber, mostly. It has low elongation. It is highly hydrophilic. The low elongation gives it good membrane strength. It is highly hydrophilic, conserves moisture, very high thermal stability, 170 degrees centigrades. And it is very drapable, so it can take the shape of soil contours. It is eco-concordant, overall you can say that. It helps reduce carbon print in the construction industry. It is abundantly available because it's a renewable crop and the production is actually rising. So somehow Jute Geotextiles, after its invention and after its discovery and later on a lot of applications, it is somehow not caught on. Though the prospects are very encouraging, and we have had numerous case studies, numerous testbed studies, projects under the auspices of National Jute Board, and almost all states, there are almost like 700 plus such implementations have been done. And we've had success stories in Shiva Lakes in Punjab, Himachal, Manipur, railways for dressing of the slope. Also national highways, also in Rajasthan. You name it, almost all the states have implementation of these projects, test projects. So for the slope stabilization, canal slopes, riverbank stabilization, etc., and tried and tested in various rivers, Bhagirathi, Brahmaputra, Hooghly. So against the hard approaches for the river bank, etc., this is a softer bioengineering approach which Jute Geotextile affords. And it gives better environmental outcome and for a long term. All this has been studied and documented. And a lot of this is available on the website of the National Jute Board. So where JCI figures in geotextile is that we have gained quite a lot of experience in working with geotextile last 3-4 years, and in distribution and application of jute geotextiles. We have a very highly qualified technical team who are basically highly qualified textile engineers. They also now gained a good amount of experience in the field about the implementation. So how JCI helps is that whenever there is a project, someone who wants to implement jute geotextile, we work closely with the client. We help selecting an appropriate type of jute geotextile, because that's quite a challenge. You have to first understand the place, the need, etc., and then select out of the various types of geotextile that we have. Then we help in sourcing, and we also ensure efficient and timely delivery, storage, handling, etc. And finally, which is the most important part, is actual implementation on the ground. So our group of experts, our engineers, they come and help you with a proper procedure for implementation of this. So we have a great deal of data on various usages or types of jute geotextiles, and JCI has had experiences in all of them, whether they are woven or non-woven or open weave, which is called soil saver also, in substrata stabilization of rural roads, which Indian Road Congress has brought in a special publication number 126, which gives proper guidelines for low volume rural roads. And a lot of work has been done in this. In addition, there are CPWD guidelines, there are railways guidelines, which are also prescribed the usage of jute geotextiles. So I don't want to talk too much about it, because you will hear about that in the subsequent technical sessions, etc. So, but it is important to also know that jute geotextiles also figure in schedules of rates also, in PWD departments, etc., various rates. In conclusion, I would just like to cull out a few points, and one of them is that it goes without saying that jute is good for environment. And enough studies through practical applications and enough standards and specifications are available. So we are at the launch pad. It is very cost effective. So it gives you good benefit and long-term benefit at low cost. We can very predictably anticipate a production level rise in the raw jute of about 5 to 10% CAGR easily. It can be more if those problems about the water management, etc., are addressed. So diversification into jute geotextile is a very, very interesting prospect from the point of view of Jute Corporation of India and from the point of view of our economy, etc. And JCI is ready to handhold all the agencies who are interested in application of jute geotextiles, whether government or commercial. All we need is now is more application, more promotion. And that is precisely we are trying to do here. And I wish, with this, I wish very, very fruitful deliberations, and hope this conference provides the necessary input, the impetus to the jute geotextile. It's been a long time. Now it's high time that we get going, we get started, and we take it to the place where it deserves. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for highlighting on the activities of Jute Corporation and the scope of Jute Geotextiles for infrastructure development, and for enlightening us with a thought-provoking session. And now, we all are eagerly waiting to hear from our chief guest, and I'm really honored to invite our chief guest, Professor N. Vinod Chandra Menon, founder member, National Disaster Management Authority, Government of India. And let me introduce Professor Vinod Menon. Professor has over 37 years of working experience, of which more than a quarter century has been in the fields of disaster risk reduction, climate change adaptation, and public policy analysis. He was the Chief of Emergency at UN. In 2005, he was nominated by the Prime Minister of India as one of the founder members of National Disaster Management Authority, Government of India, with the status of Union Minister of State. Currently, he is an international coordinator for G20 C20 Working Group on the Sustainable and Resilient Communities, Climate Environment, and Net Zero Targets. Sir, we request you to address the August gathering.
Good morning, everybody. I'm very honored and humbled to be here among all of you, and I'm very grateful to Dr. Sivakumar Babu, to Mr. Moloy Chakraborty, to Dr. Mahadeb Datta, Dr. Sreevalsa Kolathayar, and also Commodore Jolly and the others of the Jute Corporation, National Jute Board, Ministry of Textiles, Government of India, and also the Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, the Indian Geotechnical Society, the National Jute Board, NIT, Karnataka, and all the institutions which are actually part of this. While we were actually looking at the potential, when you do a landscape mapping for the jute sector in India, when you look at applications of civil engineering in the use of geotextiles in the rural infrastructure, I was actually seeing that in reality, we are actually only seeing part of the problem. The problem identification itself is a huge challenge when you really look at the landscape mapping. I was looking at Mr. Moloy Chakraborty's jacket. He's wearing a jute jacket. And the bags which we have been given are all jute bags. Look at the quality, and look at the potential. It is actually being done in terms of, the quality of work is actually what really defines the potential. And it is the livelihoods of millions of people. When you really look at the jute sector, you actually have the jute farmer, you have the jute weavers, you have the artisans, you have the distributors, the marketing, the people who are actually selling it, and so on. So, even millions of households are actually depending on the jute sector. And if you really look at the potential in terms of income generation and employment generation, we are not even scratching the surface. I'm sorry to say this because, the potential is enormous. If you really look at West Bengal, Assam, the northeastern states, and also Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, and so on, where a lot of tribal families, a lot of below poverty line households are actually depending on opportunities in terms of income generation, employment generation, and so on. Jute offers enormous potential like coir does in Kerala and Tamil Nadu and the coastal districts and so on. So I think, we need to really look at policy as an entry point. We have a national jute policy of 2005. And look at these opportunities which are there, through which you can actually support millions of families, and the potential of using geotextiles in roads and also in rural roads in the PMGSY, the Gramin Sadak Yojana. I was actually seeing the statistics, out of more than 770,000 kilometers of road length, even if you take 15% of that as geotextile based roads, it is still a very small fraction of the potential. You look at the roads from Karnataka in Kerala and all that, the rural roads which are built by PMGSY. I was seeing some of the videos, and I really feel that, if you really take it to scale, and then it is not only in India, in the states and union territories of India, in the villages of India, but it's also in Bangladesh, in Sri Lanka, in Southeast Asia, and also in other parts, where we can actually take it to scale. So I think, it's question of visioning which is needed. I'm very happy to see that Professor Sivakumar Babu sir is actually also interested in disaster mitigation. When we really look at, because I've been in the field of disaster management, I really feel that, geotextiles can actually offer not only employment, but also disaster solutions. Disaster response solutions, whether you're looking at slope stability in terms of, areas where landslides are happening, whether it is Uttarakhand or Himachal Pradesh or J&K, or the northeastern states where, we really have a problem of landslides. And so if slope stabilization can actually happen with jute, we can actually look at that as a potential. And I was also mentioning to Mr. Moloy Chakraborty that, if all the parliamentarians and all the politicians start wearing jute jackets, I'm wearing a khadi jacket, but, if you can make all the politicians, in the parliament and in the assemblies and in the districts, to start wearing jute jackets when they were, going to ceremonial functions or even attending events in their constituencies, this is also going to create a change, So maybe as a New Year gift, corporates can be told that corporate social responsibility promotes jute. Like Dr. Sreevalsa said, make it everybody a champion for promoting jute. I think that will be a huge opportunity. So there was also a mention of water management. Commodore Jolly mentioned that there is acute scarcity, acute drought, and these are all going to be worsening in the coming years if we do not really come up with solutions. So I think there is the need for understanding a big picture view of the jute sector, address the problems, and I feel that, this discussion is going to be very important. The conference is very important, not only here today, but also during 24th to 26th in Delhi. There is another conference which is going to happen in Pragati Maidan, where innovations and opportunities in terms of looking at geotextiles and other opportunities for rural infrastructure development. And I was also seeing the statistics which are being released by the PMGSY by Mr. Giriraj Singh. The database is now going to be open data. And I think that is going to also bring in a lot of transparency, accountability, and opportunities. I want to compliment the organizers and also offer all our support to really take this forward, because millions of people's lives depend on it. And I want to thank all of you for giving me this opportunity to be here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for highlighting the potential of geotextiles for different applications in everyday life. To preside this national conference, we are honored to have with us Shri Moloy Chakraborty, Jute Commissioner, Government of India. Now I request our chief guest, Professor N. Vinod Chandra Menon, to jointly release the proceedings of the conference with the Jute Commissioner, Moloy Chandra Chakraborty. Now I invite Shri Moloy Chandra Chakraborty, Jute Commissioner, Government of India, for his presidential address. Before that, let me give his brief profile. He started his career in Indian Defence Account Service in 1993. Since then, he has held various positions like Assistant Financial Advisor, Ordnance Factory Board, Kolkata, Director, Vigilance Department of Commerce, New Delhi, Controller of Accounts, Ordnance Factories, Kolkata, Controller of Defence Accounts, Army, Guwahati. He had also been Textile Commissioner and Vice Chairman of Textile Committee, CMD, National Jute Manufacturers Corporation, and Secretary, National Jute Board. And currently, he is Jute Commissioner, Government of India. Sir, I request you to deliver the presidential address.
Good morning. Chief guest of the conference, Professor Vinod Menon, Commodore A K Jolly, Professor Babu, dignitaries in the audience, industry representatives, students and scholars, ladies and gentlemen. Especially I'll say the students and scholars, because whenever I come to such functions, when I see the youngsters, it gives me immense pleasure, and I am transported back to maybe how much, I think I have passed out in 1989 from my engineering, so I always see new hope, new energy in them. My career is almost over, a few more years to go, but you are the ones, and especially in such a institute, the cream of the cream of science and technology is here. So it's always, I feel very humbled, in fact, to address you specifically. For me, it is a matter of great happiness to attend this national conference on Jute Geotextiles organized by National Jute Board in association with the Indian Institute of Science, NITK, and IGS in physical mode at this August Sathish Dhawan Auditorium. My thanks to the Indian Institute of Science and to the entire team headed by Professor G.L. Sivakumar Babu for the unstinting support we have received in this process. It always helps us when a conference or a product we are trying to promote Jute Geotextiles when the premier institute of the country supports us. My thanks are also to Professor Sreevalsa of NITK and IGS for their support in organizing this conference. I am very glad to observe that a large number of civil engineers and chief engineers, executive engineers from various state government agencies, from KRR, DA, PWD, WRD, KERS, KHRI from Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, eminent teachers, research scholars, students, academicians from various universities, including independent civil consultants and representatives from the jute industry are here today. In fact, the entire spectrum probably covers the entire country. People have come from far south as well as north as well as from east and west. So seeing this active participation, I'm really wondering whether we could have a 2-day event instead of 1 day. But it's a good beginning, and again my thanks to Indian Institute of Science. Now, as Jute Commissioner for more than 4 years of my tenure, I have seen most of the dots in the entire value chain of this sector. The unique and interesting part of the process of jute cultivation is that it is eco-friendly, agro-renewable fiber having huge positive impact over the environment. India produces on an average 1.7 million metric tons of raw jute per annum. Of course, it varies year to year, partly depending on the vagaries of the weather. And more than 4.5 million people, from farmers to traders to workers, both in mills as well as in the tertiary sector, are dependent on jute for their livelihood. Being agro-renewable and recyclable, jute has already been established as a sustainable material across the globe. Of course, as Professor Menon pointed out, we are still scratching the surface. The potential is enormous, and we have miles and miles to go. Even after serious effects, in fact, I'll give some statistics, even after serious effects of the pandemic on international trade and commerce, and also the war in Ukraine, export of jute products in the last 2 to 3 years has broken its own past record. Last year, of course, due to the Ukraine war, it was almost similar to the previous year, I think about 3,800 crores exports. But the year previously, that is, I'm talking of 21-22, there was a 38% increase in export of jute goods in the globe. So that was quite substantial. And the year before, I think it was again around 20% or so. So it has taken up by leaps and bounds in the past few years or so. But coming to the jute, we all know that the primary consumption of jute is in the packaging sector. But there are a large number of diversified products which are being manufactured from jute by the mills and the MSME sector, generating additional employment. Many composite mills, which earlier used to focus almost fully into packaging, that is B2 bags, have been actively seeking ways and means to diversify into other products. Among them, Jute Geotextile holds excellent promise because of the very nature of jute. Jute geotextiles are engineered technical fabrics made almost fully from jute. Unless it is blended with other products due to specific requirements, it is natural, eco-friendly, and biodegradable. With the ecological consciousness and the need to protect the environment spreading amongst the nations, jute in the form of geotextiles and agrotextiles has emerged as a very potential civil engineering item over the past 3 decades. Now, a National Jute Board, which I also happen to head as an additional charge, has been consistently and actively involved in development and improvement of technical textiles through various research initiatives, generating awareness among the users, agencies, engineers, by organizing and participating in different events in India and abroad. In the present National Jute Development Program, which is from 2021 to 26, in 1.5 years, we have already approved 14 research projects, of which 5 are specifically of jute geotextiles. Some more are in the pipeline. In the next committee, we'll take them up. NJB is also providing technical support and guidance to the manufacturers for producing different types of JGTs as per standard specifications, as well as site-specific materials. We also provide support and guidance to the end users for identifying the right type of JGT for specific use, including providing installation guidance at sites. In fact, my officers, despite their very, pressing schedule, we have very less number of officers, still I send them to the sites. My officers are always ready to go and help out the different organizations when they are in the process of installation of jute geotextiles. As on date, more than 800 successful field applications have established its efficacy in road construction, slope stabilization, riverbank protection, railway, forestry. The products has been standardized by BIS and included in the schedule of rates of the guidelines on application has also been published by Indian Railways and the Indian Road Congress. In view of mitigating host of soil-related problems, scientists / technologies in India has so far developed 3 main categories of JGTs, like woven, non-woven, and open weave for specific uses, such as road construction and riverbank erosion control, drainage of water, agro-mulching, stabilization of slopes of hills and earthen embankment, construction of rainwater harvesting tank, etc. JGTs have been reported to be successfully used in different areas. It has been used by PMGSY, PWD, NHAI, BRO, railways, irrigation and waterways, mines, agri-irrigation, forest and environment. The user states in India have been Andhra Pradesh, Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, Andaman and Nicobar, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Delhi, Goa, Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, Himachal, J&K, Karnataka, Maharashtra, MP, Manipur, Nagaland, Odisha, Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan. Almost I'm basically running the list of the states in the country. Almost all states have more or less, but again, there are states who have used it in a small scale. There's much more scope of expansion. As I have already pointed out, jute occupies a prominent place in the economy of the eastern part of the country, especially in generation of employment and exports. In addition, I'll just highlight the unique nature of jute, which Commodore Jolly did not go into the specific details. During the cultivation phase of jute, for the 100 to 120 days of its life cycle, research has shown that 1 hectare of jute crop absorbs about 15 metric ton of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and releases 11 metric ton of oxygen. So that acts as a carbon sink. Now, as an individual whose primary stream of graduation has been engineering, I know that despite whatever we might say, it will be difficult to fully eliminate plastics from engineering applications. It is true specifically in geotextile applications also. But at the same time, wherever possible, we need to use eco-friendly materials in geotextile applications as a substitute to non-biodegradable plastics to reduce environmental degradation to the extent possible. I'm not going to the data on plastics, but the world really cannot afford any further that great Pacific garbage patch. We all know it's floating around in the Pacific, and it is the size of Texas. Now, Texas, we all know, our largest state is Rajasthan. Texas is almost 4 times that. That's one garbage patch which is floating around in the Pacific. Similarly, I understand there are 6 more such patches all over the ocean. And this is just the ocean where human intervention is very minimal compared to on land. So this is where I think geotextile can come in and provide natural, eco-friendly and sustainable solutions. Apart from eco-friendliness, jute geotextile is also manufactured from the fiber to the finished products in the country, thereby making it perfectly matched with the Make in India mantra. Further, jute geotextile also seem to be significantly cost-effective compared to its synthetic substitute. I believe that this conference organized by us in association with the premier and prestigious institutes of the country will create a significant awareness among the civil engineering fraternity in this southern part and explore the hidden potential of jute geotextile to the maximum extent. I wish a grand success to the event. Thank you and Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for providing insights on application of jute textile for infrastructure development and its diversified use. Now I request Shri Moloy Chandan Chakraborty to present the mementos to our chief guest, Professor N. Vinod Chandra Menon. Thank you, sir. Now I request Professor G.L. Sivakumar Babu to present a memento to Shri Moloy Chandan Chakraborty. And once again, Babu sir to present a memento to Commodore A K Jolly. And now I request the convener of conference, Dr. Datta, to come to the dais and present a memento to Professor G.L. Sivakumar Babu. And propose the vote of thanks. Thank you.
To be on time and also to organize such kind of conference, if I don't thank everyone, so I'm in a dilemma actually, because we have already crossed 10:45, and when I thought of organizing this workshop, I talked to my good friend Professor Sreevalsa, then my true guide Professor Sivakumar, and then it was started I think 3-4 months ago, but then in the process there are so many people involved. So let me begin and let me finish it very quickly because we are already short of time. So, respected Chief Guest, Professor Menon, sir, you have kindly accepted our invitation and inaugurated the event as Chief Guest, sir. Thank you so much for coming all the way from Pune and addressing us. Our respected Jute Commissioner and respected CMD JCI, Deputy Jute Commissioner, and Professor Babu. I mean, who all of them are the true, inspiration, true guides to make this thing happen. Actually, in the process, there are so many people. Somebody asked me whether have you prepared the vote of thanks. I said no, because So I want to thank everyone, including the students who were preparing the registration kit, the person who has developed this bag, the artist who has manufactured these mementos, and of course the participants who have come all the way from different parts of the country. And finally, if I don't mention the name of the management committee of this hall, and that to Siva madam, I think it won't be fair. So thanks to everyone, thanks for everything. And with that, I think if I missed someone, please forgive me.
Thank you, sir. Now let us all stand up for national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।
With this, we have concluded the inaugural session.